I'm asking for your support and commitment on electing me as your next sheriff. A vote for me is a vote for service and protection. I'm committed and dedicated to our community. So on November 3rd, elect me, Eric Bryant, Sheriff of Sumter County.
Being in the know again. From Albany to Douglas, with SouthGATV.com, you're just one click away, and you'll have the answers you're looking for with local stories, sports, and weather, because local matters.
Good character, sound judgment, maturity, social awareness, and a commitment to serve all people are characteristics that your Chief Magistrate must possess. As a candidate for Chris County Chief Magistrate, I offer these characteristics to you, and I ask for your vote and your support. We're living in a crucial time. Many things have changed, but my commitment to serve the citizens of Chris County has never wavered. Whether you vote by mail-in ballot, early vote, or go to the polls on Tuesday, November 3rd, I'm Isaac Owens, and I ask for your vote and your support.
Thanks for watching Cordial's WSST, with great programs and putting community first, because local matters.
Cordial's WSST, because local matters.
Yes, sir. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors have been proudly serving the people of this community since 1918. Service is our motto. The poor, the rich, the middle class, and all are given the best of care and attention at all times. You have the privilege to select what you want. In your time of need, contact the capable, the competent, and the dependable staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, who is genuinely concerned with your care. At J.W. Williams Funeral Home, you are aptly served by the proprietor, president, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, who continues the traditions and values set forth by the past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. Your announcers for the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Sunday morning program are Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Reverend Isaac H. Owens, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, Minister Frankie Harmon, Ms. Sandra Johnson, and Deacon Earl Clark, Jr.
Thank you, and good morning, friends. We come to you this morning to bring announcements, dedications, and songs. We certainly hope that your day may be brighter after listening to our program. Family of Mrs. Susan Williams Hardage of Warwick, Georgia. The family of Mother Martille Smith Williams of Cordell, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Mary Jo Smith King of Warner Robins, Georgia. The family of Miss Belinda Ann Jackson of Ashburn, Georgia. The family of Mr. Robert James Hill of Cordell, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Brenda Denise Fields Shorter of Cordell, Georgia. The family of United States Air Force veteran Mr. John Spivey of Bowenville, Georgia. Would like to thank their many friends for the food, the flowers, the condolences, and all other expressions of sympathy and kindness shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. Mrs. Susan Williams Hardage, age 74, of 208 Roosevelt Street, Warwick, Georgia, died Wednesday, October 21st at Navison Health in Macon, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Susan Williams Hartage was held Sunday, October 25th, graveside at the Fort Early Baptist Church Cemetery in Warwick, Georgia. Her pastor, the Reverend Ivory J. Corbin, pastor of the Mount Moriah Baptist Church, officiated. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Mr. Henry L. Morris, Jr. of Warwick, Georgia, Mrs. Sabrina Jones and her husband, Deacon Al Jones of Cordele, Georgia, two beloved grandchildren, Mr. Dante Morris and Miss Tasha Clark, both of Cordele, Georgia, one great-grandchild, her beloved sibling, Miss Ella Mae Williams, Mr. Little Joe Williams, Mr. L.J. Williams, all of Warwick, Georgia, and Mrs. Annie Curry of Sylvester, Georgia, Miss Maddie Sparks of Albany, Georgia, Miss Gladys Ray and her husband, Mr. Reginald Ray of Americus, Georgia, Mrs. Mary Jean Floyd of Americus, Georgia, her beloved sisters-in-law, Mrs. Thelma Williams and Miss Karen Williams, both of Warwick, Georgia, and Miss Winnie Mae Sparks of Jacksonville, Florida. A host of special nieces, nephews, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends, to include her special friend, Mr. Curtis Ludden of Cordele, Georgia, survived Mrs. Susan Williams Hartage, age 74, of 208 Roosevelt Street, Warwick, Georgia. Mother Martell Smith Williams, age 80, of 507 South 13th Street, Cordele, Georgia, died Thursday, October 22nd, at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mother Martell Smith Williams was held Wednesday, October 28th, graveside at the Bethel Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Her pastor, the Reverend Gregory Williams, pastor of the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church, officiated. Her beloved grandson, Dr. Antoine M. Yao, delivered the eulogy. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Deacon Michael Smith and his wife, Mrs. Eula Smith, Mr. Frederick Smith, Miss Shonda Smith, Miss Fowler Felton, and her husband, Deacon Charles Felton, all of Cordele, Georgia, 17 loving grandchildren, a special granddaughter whom she reared, Miss Linda Armstrong of Cordele, Georgia, 46 great-grandchildren, two loving sisters, Miss Lola Floyd of Jacksonville, Florida, and Miss Jo Evelyn Jordan of Macon, Georgia, a host of nieces and nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survived. Mother Martell Smith Williams, age 80, of 507 South 13th Street, Cordele, Georgia. Mrs. Mary Jo Smith King, age 66, of 1127 South Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins, Georgia, died Saturday, October 24th, at the Heart of Georgia Hospice in Perry, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Mary Jo Smith King was held Wednesday, October 28th, graveside at the Vienna City Cemetery in Vienna, Georgia. Reverend Leonard Boston officiated. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Mrs. Shonda C. West and her husband, Mr. Payload West, and Mr. Edward King Jr. and his fiancee, Miss Sophia Howard, both of Warner Robins, Georgia. Her beloved grandchildren, Mr. Sky Kim West, Miss Germany West, Miss Paris West, Miss London West, Mr. Samaria West, Miss Felix Allman, Mr. Jakeem King, and Miss Brooklyn King. Her loving and devoted mother, Mother Evelyn Smith of Vienna, Georgia. Her loving and devoted sisters, Miss Peggy Smith, Miss Angela Smith, Miss Margaret Rembrandt and her husband, Mr. Timothy Rembrandt, and Miss Jacqueline Peterson. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Andrew Smith and his wife, Mrs. Deborah Smith, Mr. Marcus Smith and his wife, Mrs. Joanna Smith, Mr. Jerome Smith and his wife, Mrs. Sean Smith, and Mr. Nelvis Smith. A host of nieces, nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mrs. Mary Jo Smith King, age 66, of 1127 South Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins, Georgia. Miss Belinda Ann Jackson, age 47, of 160 Rains Road, Ashburn, Georgia, died Saturday, October 24, at her residence in Ashburn, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Belinda Ann Jackson was held Thursday, October 29th, graveside at the Westview Memorial Gardens in Ashburn, Georgia. Apostle Avery McCutcheon officiated. Survivors include her loving and devoted daughter, Miss Shy Kim Brimble Jackson of Ashburn, Georgia. Her beloved grandson, Master Zayden Hurd of Ashburn, Georgia. Her loving and devoted mother, Mrs. Ernestine E. Jackson of Ashburn, Georgia. Her beloved sisters, Miss Cassandra Jackson of Ashburn, Georgia, Miss Valerie Jackson of Cordele, Georgia, and her beloved brother, Mr. Christopher Jackson of Tifton, Georgia. Her beloved aunts and uncles, Mr. Charlie C. Ezel and Mrs. Gloria Ezel Gordon, both of Ashburn, Georgia. Mr. Jesse Jackson and his wife, Mrs. Sylvia Jackson of Ocala, Florida. Mrs. Darlene Mosley and her husband, Mr. Sammy Mosley of Albany, Georgia. Mrs. Faye Hancock and her husband, Mr. David Hancock of Trimble, Missouri. And Miss Bobby Jean Ezel of Cordele, Georgia. A host of other relatives and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Miss Belinda Ann Jackson, age 47, of 160 Rains Road, Ashburn, Georgia. Mr. Robert James Hill, age 54, of 1409 Flint Drive, Cordele, Georgia, died Monday, October 26, at Emory Healthcare in Atlanta, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Robert James Hill was held Saturday, October 31st, graveside at the Mount Olive Baptist Church Cemetery in Warwick, Georgia. The Reverend Donnie R. Hall Sr., pastor of the Mount Olive Baptist Church, officiated. Survivors include his loving and devoted mother, Mrs. Louise Johnson Hill of Cordele, Georgia. One beloved sister, Miss Raines Herman, and her husband, Mr. Ronnie Herman of Cordele, Georgia. His beloved brothers, the Reverend Michael Hill and his wife, Mrs. Peggy Hill of Ashburn, Georgia, and Mr. Kenneth Hill of Cordele, Georgia. A sister-in-law, Miss Sonia Hill of Albany, Georgia. His beloved aunt and uncles, Miss May B. Menu, Mr. Lonnie Johnson, and Mr. Columbus Johnson, all of Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Herman Neely of Turner County, Georgia. His special nieces and nephews and cousins, Mr. Jermaine Hill of Atlanta, Georgia, Miss Shaquilla Hill, Mr. Kentavious Lewis, Mr. Tyler Herman, Miss Brianna Hill, Miss Christy Hill, Miss Jalen Hill, Mr. Jacobius Green, Miss Vivian Lamar, Miss Carolyn Levant, Miss Tammy Harvey, and Mr. Bobby Johnson, all of Cordele, Georgia, Mr. Zacharias Dorsey of Albany, Georgia, and Mr. John Anthony Menu of Atlanta, Georgia, a host of other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survived. Mr. Robert James Hill, age 54, of 1409 Flint Drive, Cordele, Georgia. Mrs. Brenda Denise Fields Shorter, age 49, of 303 West 14th Avenue, Cordele, Georgia, died Monday, October 26, 2020, at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Brenda Denise Fields Shorter was held Saturday, October 31st, graveside at the Fort Early Baptist Church Cemetery in Warwick, Georgia. Her pastor, the Reverend Gregory Williams, pastor of the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church, officiated. Survivors include her beloved husband, Mr. Alvin K. Shorter of Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved children, Miss Shanteria Lumpkin and her husband, Mr. Allen Lumpkin of Perry, Georgia. Miss Tykeria Felton and her husband, Mr. Christopher Felton, and Mr. Quintavious Glenn and his wife, Mrs. Shanti Glenn, both of Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved grandchildren, Akuria Fullwood, Brijaya Glenn, Samaya Fields, Christopher Fields Jr., Callis Felton, Kyrie Glenn, Jordan Glenn, and Alan Lumpkin Jr. Her beloved and devoted mother, Miss Johnny B. Hawkins of Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved sister, Mrs. Taretha Fields, Miss Felicia Glee and her husband, Mr. Adrian Glee, Miss Ernestine Armstrong, Miss Juanita Armstrong, Miss Latoya Armstrong, and Mrs. Reginald Hall and her husband, Solani Hall, all of Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved aunts and uncles, Mr. Johnny Willis Sr. of Cordele, Georgia, Miss Nancy Mitzi of Boston, Massachusetts, Miss Flossie M. Lindo of Brooklyn, New York, and Mr. Lee Andrew Fields Sr. of Abilene, Texas. Her godchildren, Miss Guana West, Mr. Cedric McKenzie, both of Florida. Her brother-in-law, Mr. Wendell Shorter of Florida. A host of nieces, nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends, to include Mr. Oscar West, Miss Tammy Mentor, Miss Beatrice, Miss Bernice Quickset, and Miss Brenda Howard, all survived. Mrs. Brenda Denise Fields Shorter, age 49, of 303 West 14th Avenue, Cordele, Georgia. United States Air Force veteran, Mr. John Spivey, age 68, of 593 Felton Avenue, Byronville, Georgia, died Saturday, October 24th, at his residence in Byronville, Georgia. The remains were cremated. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Mrs. Janet Spivey of Byronville, Georgia, a beloved daughter, Miss Anjanette Spivey of Byronville, Georgia, his beloved grandchildren, Taze Mann and Mr. Michael Mann Jr., both of Byronville, Georgia, his loving and devoted sisters, Mrs. Mary Spivey Eason of Decatur, Georgia, and Miss Katie Spivey of New York, a beloved brother, Mr. Willie Glenn Spivey of Greensboro, North Carolina, a host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. United States Air Force veteran, Mr. John Spivey, age 68, of 593 Felton Avenue, Byronville, Georgia. Again, the family of Mrs. Susan Williams Hardage of Warwick, Georgia, the family of Mother Martell Smith Williams of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mrs. Mary Jo Smith King of Warner Robins, Georgia, the family of Miss Belinda Ann Jackson of Ashburn, Georgia, the family of Mr. Robert James Hill of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mrs. Brenda Denise Fields Shorter of Cordele, Georgia, the family of United States Air Force veteran, Mr. John Spivey of Byronville, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for all of the many kindnesses shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. May God bless each of you is their prayer. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors, serving Cordele and Vienna, were in charge of each of these arrangements during the past week. And now, it is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcement. Beloved Church Mother, Mary Jean Montfrey, age 86, of 1210 South 15th Street, Cordele, Georgia, died Friday, October 30th, at the Phoebe Putnam Memorial Hospital in Albany, Georgia. Survivors include her beloved and devoted children, Mrs. Dorothy Nicholson of Rosedale, New York, Mrs. Faye M. Pondexter and her husband, Mr. Thomas Pondexter of Jacksonville, Florida, Mrs. Eddie Mae Lester and her husband, the Reverend Nikita Lester, Deacon Jimmy Charles Montfrey and his wife, Mrs. Carol Montfrey, Mrs. Cynthia White and her husband, Deacon Don White, all of Cordele, Georgia, Mrs. Vivian M. Montfrey of McDonald, Georgia, 12 beloved grandchildren, her beloved sisters, Mrs. Annie L. Williams of Oakfield, Georgia, and Mrs. Flora Cameron of Milton, Massachusetts. 2 sisters-in-law, 1 brother-in-law, a host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Beloved church mother, Mary Jean Montfrey, age 86, of 1210 South 15th Street, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for beloved church mother, Mary Jean Montfrey, age 86, will be held Friday, November 6th at 12 noon on the grounds of her beloved Crossroad Baptist Church in Cordele, Georgia. The burial will follow at the Bethel Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Her pastor, the Reverend Nelson Maynard, pastor of the Crossroad Baptist Church, will officiate. Mr. Arthur James Nance Jr., age 59, a 102 Charlie Lee Circle, Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, October 24th, at his residence in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include his loving and devoted daughter, Miss Tamika Mercer, and her husband, Mr. Terrence Mercer of Jacksonville, Florida. A beloved grandchild, Miss Taylor Mercer of Jacksonville, Florida. His loving and devoted mother, Mother Mary Lou Williams Nance of Cordele, Georgia. His loving and caring sibling, Mr. James E. Nance, Miss Miriam J. Nance, Miss Lorraine A. Nance Glover, and her husband, Mr. Paul Glover, Miss Mary L. Nance, Mr. Marvin D. Nance, and his wife, Mrs. Nicole Nance, Mrs. Angela D. Nance Hall, and her husband, Mr. Alonzo Hall, Mr. Melvin E. Nance, and Mrs. Tina D. Nance Hoggerbrook, and her husband, Mr. Andrew Hoggerbrook Sr., all of Jacksonville, Florida. His beloved aunts and uncles, Mrs. Ethel Atkins, and Mr. David G. Williams, and his wife, Mrs. Dorothy Williams, all of Cordele, Georgia. Mrs. Margaret Edwards of Jacksonville, Florida. Mrs. Garfield Richardson, Miss Ernestine Davis, and Mrs. Betty Ann Smothers, all of Winter Havens, Florida. Mrs. Shirley Long and her husband, Mr. Curtis Long of Nashville, Tennessee, and a host of nieces and nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mr. Arthur James Nance Jr., age 59, a 102 Charlie Lee Circle, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Arthur James Nance Jr. will be held Saturday, November 7th at 11 a.m. at the Mount Olive Baptist Church Cemetery in Warwick, Georgia. The public visitation will be Friday, November 6th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Luella Ridley Strawder, age 72, of 801 West 22nd Avenue, Cordele, Georgia, died Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, at the Cordele Health and Rehabilitation Center in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted son, Mr. Edward Tyrone Ridley of Cordele, Georgia, her beloved and devoted mother, Mother Emma Love Jackson of Cordele, Georgia, a beloved sister, Miss Anita Williams of Cordele, Georgia, her beloved brothers, Mr. Frederick Jackson and Mr. Scotty Jackson, both of Cordele, Georgia, a host of nieces and nephews, many cousins to include her special cousin, Miss Barbara Ann Clay, Mrs. Jacombre Morrison, and a host of other relatives, and many sorrowing friends to include her special family friends, Miss Jackie Ridley, Miss Gwendolyn Thomas, Miss Burl Patrick, Miss Clara Dixon, Jalen Jackson, and Miss Patricia Criddle survived. Mrs. Luella Ridley Strawder, age 72, of 801 West 22nd Avenue, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Luella Ridley Strawder will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. United States Army veteran Corporal Avery Delshawn Hillsman of the Crisp County Sheriff Office, age 50, of 1823, South Georgia Highway 90, Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, October 31st, at the Houston Medical Center in Warner Robins, Georgia. His remains were escorted to the funeral home by the Crisp County Sheriff Department and other law enforcement with full detail. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Mrs. Cherie Pettigrew Hillman of Cordele, Georgia, his loving and devoted son, Mr. Malika D. Avery Hillman of Cordele, Georgia, a beloved daughter, Miss Jaden Hillman of Atlanta, Georgia, his loving and devoted parents, Deacon Johnny C. Hillman and Miss Gwen Ray Hillman, his beloved brother, Mr. Derek Hillman, and his wife, Mrs. Tasha Hillman of Atlanta, Georgia, his father-in-law, Brother Fred Pettigrew, and his wife, Mrs. Joanne Pettigrew of Warner Robins, Georgia, his brother-in-law, Mr. McQueese Pettigrew, and his wife, Mrs. Leanna Pettigrew of Houston, Texas, his sister-in-law, Mrs. Carmichael P. Brown, and her husband, L.T. Brown of Hinton, Virginia, a host of cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survived. United States Army veteran Corporal Avery Delshawn Hillman of the Crisp County Sheriff Office, age 50, of 1823 South Georgia Highway 90, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for United States Army veteran Corporal Avery Delshawn Hillsman of the Crisp County Sheriff Office will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors serving Cordele and Vienna are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. And now for an out-of-town funeral notice. Veteran Mr. Frank Pickney of Denver, Colorado, died Wednesday, October 28, at his residence in Denver, Colorado. The funeral service will be held Thursday, November 12, at 10 a.m. at the Taylor Funeral Home in Denver, Colorado. He is survived by his wife, Mrs. Ruth Pickney, and locally survived by the Wilson family, in-laws, and many nieces and nephews. Friends, that conclude our funeral notices for this morning. And as always, we do remind you concerning our pre-funeral arrangements planning available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, with packages available with a single pay, a 3-year pay, a 5-year pay, and a 10-year pay. So please stop by and talk with us concerning your pre-funeral arrangements needs available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. And also whole life insurance is available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.
And we encourage each of you to go to the polls and take the opportunity to cast your vote. It is important that you take this opportunity to do so. The numbers for our early voting were very encouraging, and we hope, trust, and pray that on Tuesday, November the 3rd, that you will join all the citizens of Georgia and other areas and take the opportunity to get out and vote. If you need a ride to the poll, the J.W. Williams Funeral Home will offer you a ride if you will call 229-273-2683 for a ride to the poll. Remember, voting starts on Tuesday, November 3rd from 7 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. Take the opportunity to cast your vote. We'd also like to remind you, if you need a ride to the poll, that you may call the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, and we will begin picking up at 10 o'clock a.m. For those that need a ride to the poll. So remember, take that opportunity. You're also invited to worship at the New Poplar Spring Baptist Church Sunday morning worship service, which will begin at 9:45 a.m. Wednesday evening service at 6:45 p.m. via conference call. Remember to call 253-993-3761. Again, you're invited to worship with the New Poplar Spring Baptist Church. Pastor Johnny Dean is the pastor. The Greater Mars Tabernacle Baptist Church invites you to worship with them. You may worship with them by way of conference call. The conference call schedule is as follows. Sunday morning, 9 o'clock a.m. Tuesday, midday prayer, 12 o'clock noon. Thursday, prayer meeting and Bible study will begin at 6 o'clock p.m. Conference call number is 229-329-7611. Again, the Greater Mars Tabernacle Baptist Church invites you to worship with them. The conference call number is 229-329-7611. Dr. K.M. Williams is the pastor. Deacon Arthur L. Park is the chairman of deacons. Mother Lucille Shazer is the church mother. As we continue this morning, we'd also like to remind you by way of other announcements that we have. The graphic is not the right graphic, but we would like to remind you that the New St. Stephen's Church will celebrate the 5th anniversary of Pastor Dr. Frankie Harmon on Sunday, November the 8th. The Gospel and Gold celebration in honor of Dr. Ermelie Smith will be held on the church lawn from 3 p.m. until 4 o'clock p.m. Drive by, honk, and wave to help us celebrate. Dr. Frankie Harmon is the chairman. We'd also like to share with you that this evening at 6 o'clock p.m., there will be the Cordial Crisp Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance will invite you to join them for an hour of prayer as we pray for our community and the things that we're experiencing, as well as praying for our nation and for our election of 2020. You're invited to join us by way of calling, and we will share that number with you shortly. So remember, if you will give us a call, we'll make sure that we share that information with you. Crisp Area Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, an hour of prayer for our nation and the 2020 election this evening at 6 o'clock p.m. You're invited, everyone is invited to join us via conference call at 657-390-4570. Again, that number is 657-390-4570. Join the Cordial Crisp Area Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance for an hour of prayer for our nation and the 2020 election this evening at 6 o'clock p.m. Everyone is invited. Again, call us, join us by via conference call, 657-390-4570.
Friends, that conclude our announcements for this morning. Do pray that you would govern yourselves accordingly. And now for dedications. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: in loving memory of Mrs. Carrie Bell Whitfield, who would have celebrated her birthday October 17th. Dedication requested by her beloved children, Mrs. Dora Goodgang, Mr. James Whitfield, her beloved granddaughter, Miss Dolores Odom of Vienna, Georgia, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Deacon Lindbergh Williams Sr., past chairman of the Mount Olive Baptist Church Board of Deacons of Warwick, Georgia, who departed this life October 13, 2008. Dedication requested by the Williams family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. Jerry Lawrence, who would have celebrated his birthday October 29th, dedication requested by the Shine family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Mrs. Benny Mae Barthel, who would have celebrated her birthday October 30th, dedication requested by the Barthel, Johnson, and Shine family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of our beloved Mother Carrie Lee Porter, who departed this life November 2nd, 2015. Dedication requested by her beloved children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the entire family, including her beloved sister, Mother Lucille Shazer, and all of the members of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church family, where she served so faithfully for many years. Beloved church mother, Mother Carrie Lee Porter, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Deacon Roy Lee Mikey Sr., who would have celebrated his birthday November 1st. Dedication requested by the Mikey and Leary family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. George Westbrook Jr., who departed this life November 2nd, 1992. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mrs. Martha Ruth Westbrook of Araby, Georgia, his children, Mr. Frank and Mrs. Deborah Walker Westbrook, Elder Helen and Brother Melton Dunlap, Bishop George and Minister Tronda Westbrook, Mr. Willie King and Ms. Lindell Westbrook, Minister Gloria and Brother Norris Mathis, all of the grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the entire Westbrook family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Miss Kawana Smith, who would have celebrated her birthday November 3rd, dedication requested by Miss Veronica Young Carswell, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Elizabeth Fletcher Brown, who would have celebrated her birthday November 3rd, dedication comes from her beloved mother, Mother Minnie Fletcher, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. John Patrick Jr., who departed this life November 4th, 2017. Dedication requested by his beloved mother, Mother Ida Bell Patrick, and the entire Patrick family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of past Chairman Deacon Oscar Brooks Sr., who departed this life November 5th, 2012. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mrs. Carrie Brooks, the children, grandchildren, and the entire family. To pause and remember the life of Deacon Oscar Brooks Sr., past chairman of the Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Minnie Jones Felton, who would have celebrated her birthday November 7th, dedication requested by the Jones family. Precious memory lingers still. Our first election this morning is dedicated to the following. Happy birthday to Mrs. Norma Solomon, who will celebrate her birthday Friday, November 6th. Dedication requested by our beloved husband, Mr. Willie Solomon, and the entire family. Happy birthday and many, many more. Special birthday wishes goes out to my sister, Mrs. Maddie Mae Johnson, better known as Sister Girl, who celebrates her birthday today, November 1st. Happy birthday, Sister Girl, and many, many more. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following. Mrs. Mary Kendrick and family, Mr. and Mrs. Ricky Hardeman and family, Mrs. Mary Frances Davis and family, Mr. Justin Colbert Jr. and family, Mrs. Shalana Donaldson and family, Miss Debbie Cross and family, Mr. Tommy Glenn and family, Miss Judge Glenn and family, Mother Jessie Ezel and family, Mrs. B.J. Ezel and the entire staff of B.J.'s Diner, Mother Willeen McGill and family, Ms. Burrow Patrick and family, Ms. Mary Taylor and family. Hold on. Colonda is sending me some kind of announcement, so can I pull it up here? Mr. and Mrs., the Reverend and Mrs. Donnie Hall and family. Let's see what he said. Miss Betty Epps and family, Miss Latasha Smith and family, Miss Rosa Epps and family, Miss Vera Carter and family, Miss Dorothy Paul and family, Miss Val Carter and family, Mr. F.D. Lawton and family, Mrs. Barbara Roberts and family, Miss Tasha Trice and family, the Carter family, Mrs. Shonda Hutchison and family, Miss Sharina Jackson and family, Miss Vivian Daniels and family, Miss Jackie Lattimore and family, Mrs. Lottie Tarbert and family, the Epps and Lawton family, Miss Sarah Jackson and family, Miss Patricia White and family, Miss Frances Relaford and family, Miss Bernice Relaford and family, Miss Corrine Passmore and family, Miss Geraldine Perry and family, Mother Mary Picola Jackson and family, Miss Gwen Jackson and family, Elder Darrell Leggett and family, Missionary Irene and the Reverend L.C. Cantrell and family, Mrs. Clara Nell Carter and family, Miss Christine Graham and family, Miss Mary Wellens and family, Deacon Vet T. and Miss Willie Mae Crane and family of Pinehurst, Georgia. Miss Betty and Miss Brenda Webb and family of Unadilla, Georgia, Miss Doris Wise and family, Dr. Beverly Bolden and family, Mr. Chester Mike Williams and family, Mr. Kelvin and Mrs. Carol Morrell and family, Mr. Otis and Miss Mary Blanks and family, Elder Billy and Pastor Rosa Sanford and family, the Reverend Jeff Wilson and family, and all of the members of the Odom Grove Baptist Church. The Reverend Nelson Maynor and to his beloved mother, Mother May Maynor, and I believe I saw WSST this past week where she celebrated her 95th birthday. Happy birthday to Mother May Maynor. The Reverend Gregory and Mrs. Denise Williams and family, the Reverend Ivory and Mrs. Dorothy Corbin and family, the Reverend Joseph Atkins and family, Bishop and Mrs. Sammy Haynes and family, Vienna, Georgia, Bishop and Mrs. Arthur West and family, the Reverend Samuel Stokes and family, Dr. Ruby Jackson and family, Minister Johnny and Dr. Diane Hosley and family, Mrs. Lily Kate Granville Cotton and family, Deacon Henry King of the Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church, Miss Betty Roberson and family, Miss Gladys Foster and family, Miss Willie Mae Leary and family of Hatley, Georgia, Deacon Earl Leary and family, the entire Carter family of Hatley, Georgia, and to my neighbor, Miss Theron Jones and family, and the entire Jones and Tarbert family, Mrs. Juanita and Mr. Johnny Tarbert, and the entire Tarbert family. I see where my niece Key sent me a note, said happy birthday to Miss Maddie Mae Johnson, my sister, who is 80 years old today, turns 80. Sister girl turns 80 years old on November 1st. Happy birthday, sister girl, and many, many more. 80 years old, and I'm your brother, so what's that saying about me? It is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcements. Mother Mary Jean Montfrey, age 86, of 1210 South 15th Street, Cordele, Georgia, died Friday, October 30th at the Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital in Albany, Georgia. The funeral service for Mother Mary Jean Montfrey will be held Friday, November 6th at 12 noon on the grounds of her beloved Crossroad Baptist Church in Cordele, Georgia. Her pastor, Reverend Nelson Maynor, will officiate. The public walk-up visitation will be Thursday, November 5th from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mr. Arthur James Nance, Jr., age 59, of 102 Charlie Lee Circle, Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, October 24th at his residence in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Arthur James Nance, Jr. will be held Saturday, November 7th, graveside at 11 a.m. at the Mount Olive Baptist Church Cemetery in Warwick, Georgia. Public visitation will be Friday, November 6th from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Luella Straughter, age 72, of 801 West 22nd Avenue, Cordele, Georgia, died Wednesday, October 21st, 2020 at the Cordele Health and Rehabilitation Center in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Luella Ridley Straughter, age 72, will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. United States Army veteran Corporal Avery Delshawn Hillsman of the Chris County Sheriff Office, age 50, of 1823 South Georgia Highway 90, Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, October 31st at the Houston Medical Center in Warner Robins, Georgia. His remains was escorted to the funeral home by the Chris County Sheriff and other law enforcement agency. The funeral service for United States Army veteran Corporal Avery Delshawn Hillsman of the Chris County Sheriff Office, age 50, will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors, serving Cordele and Vienna, are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Our next and final selection for this morning is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved one was laid to rest during the past week. The family of Mrs. Susan Williams Hardage of Warwick, Georgia. The family of Mother Martial Smith Williams of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Ms. Mary Jo Smith King of Warner Robins, Georgia. The family of Ms. Belinda Ann Jackson of Ashburn, Georgia. The family of Mr. Robert James Hill of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Ms. Brenda Denise Fields Shorter of Cordele, Georgia. The family of United States Air Force veteran Mr. John Spivey of Byronville, Georgia. This election is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved ones will be laid to rest during this week. The family of beloved church mother, Mother Mary Jean Montfrey, age 86 of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Arthur James Nance Jr. of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Luella Ridley Strouder of Cordele, Georgia. The family of United States Army veteran Corporal Avery Delshawn Hillsman of the Chris County Sheriff Office of Cordele, Georgia. This election is dedicated to all of the sick and shut in, to all patients in the local and surrounding hospitals, nursing homes, and rehabilitation centers, to our beloved ministers and their devoted family members, to all retired educators, to the men and women serving in armed forces, both stateside and abroad, to all veterans, and to everyone who listens to our program on each Sunday morning. It's a pleasure for us to bring it to you. Our program goes out in memory of our past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. Goes out to my wife, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, to my son, Jai Wilkerson Parker. This selection goes out to my brother, retired Chief Master Sergeant Norman F. Dexter. Goes to my and his wife, Dr. Gwendolyn Maxine Dexter. To my sister, Miss Manny Mae Johnson, better known as Sister Girl, and again, who's celebrating her birthday today, who's 80 years old on today. Happy birthday, Sister Girl, and many, many more. My sister, Mrs. Patsy Ann Jackson, and her husband's Jim Jackson, and family. Goes out to my mother-in-law, Miss Billy Ann Hall, and family. This selection goes out to my nephew, Deacon Kenneth Smith, program chairman of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. Goes out to our pastor, Dr. K.M. Williams, and his wife, Mrs. Kathy Williams, and family. Our selection this morning goes out to our church mother, Mother Lucille Shazer, age 107. Age 107. Good morning, Mother Lucille Shazer. This selection goes. Okay, and the Reverend Isaac H. Owen reminding you of prayer conference call this evening at 6 o'clock, sponsored by the Cordele Ministerial Alliance, the Reverend Johnny Dean, President, and invite you this evening at 6 o'clock to please tune in to the announcements, please, there this evening for prayer. And our dedication this morning goes out to Mr. Willie B. Barnes and family of Vienna, Georgia, Deacon and Mrs. Freddie Perry and family, and the entire Perry family, Mother Adeline Lofton, church mother of the Little Rock Baptist Church of Araby, Georgia. Our selection this morning goes out to Colonel Eric D. Bryant, candidate for the Chris County Sheriff, Sumter County Sheriff, candidate for the Sumter County Sheriff, Colonel Eric D. Bryant, candidate for the Sumter County Sheriff, Mr. Kenneth Hamilton, candidate for the Sumter County Commissioner, District 5, Mr. Warner Buffett Edward, candidate for the Sumter County Tights Commissioner, Dr. Brooke Robinson, candidate for the Chris County Board of Education, for the Sumter County Board of Education, Mr. Dwight Harris, Sr., candidate for the Sumter County Board of Education, District 7, Dr. Elizabeth Mapp.
Yes, I'm going to walk. Oh, that will keep my way. Oh, child.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We hope you've enjoyed our program. Tune in again on next Sunday morning. Remember, in your time of need, contact the competent, capable, and dependable staff at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.